What's going on, guys? Kalamazi here. It's going to be my midnight pre-patch Affliction Warlock DPS guide. A quicker one than the normal main guides that come out for expansion release. Quick talents, quick rotational stuff, and a brief overview of what changed for Affliction, because Aff's looking pretty spicy in midnight, and on Tuesday, you can play it. At least a good bit of it. Now, briefly, before we get too far in the video, this is the first video in the series. We're going to have Demo and Destro coming out over the next 24 to 48 hours as well. I'll have talent builds I'm going to show you here in a minute down below in the description. And yeah, I think it said, oh, sub to the channel. If you're not subbed, it would mean the actual world to me. We're like 100 subs away from 100K, which is mind-boggling. So if you guys aren't subbed, it would mean the world to me if you subbed. Didn't, I love you all the same, but, or if you don't, I love you all the same, but... There's that. So yeah, don't worry about this. I'm on PTR. This is a character from like Undermine, I'm pretty sure. But it doesn't matter because we're looking at talents and things today. I'll hop on beta to show rotational stuff. But the gist of it is looking at the new version of Affliction. Now, a couple things off the bat. Sims for Warlock aren't done from what I heard. I don't know if any classes really are at this point for pre-patch. I think they're going to be like, I think the ETA was like around midnight's release, give or take. These builds here, disclaimer and rotations, are going to be just what I've been doing on beta or on PTR, or beta really. Things will very likely change a bit over the next few days. I will update the talent build link down below. It's going to have Aff, then Demo Destro, when those videos come out, whenever I change things. Paste bins being weird. Oh, I'm putting it in Google Doc, I'm pretty sure this time, but it'll be down below in the description regardless if you guys want them. So there's that. But yeah, so getting into the changes for Aff here, if you haven't picked it up or seen it all on Alpha or Beta or PTR, it is back to Unstable Affliction Spender. Rapture is gone. Unstable Affliction is your main spender in single target, and like Council Cleave based fights. Seed of Corruption with Sow the Seeds and other things that buff Sow the Seeds, giving you 3 seeds, more damage, all that is your main AoE spender. So if you're an AoE, 3 or more targets, you're just going to cast Seed of Corruption, throw a bunch of seeds with Sow, do big AoE damage. You'll put up your agonies and your things like that, and that's basically it. You still have Absolute Corruption or Siphon Life around. We'll get more into that in a minute here. Dark Glare still around. Does not extend dots anymore. It increases dot damage by 20% when it's active. So you actually want to cast Unstable Afflictions after your Dark Glare and not before, like, well, before the Rapture. As far as like the hero talents go for all the specs here, you do get access to the 4th row in pre-patch. However, you don't get 3 more points until midnight launches. So the builds I have recommended in M+ and things do change a bit. I am playing like the swipe build. We'll look at it in a minute here as well. Or the swipe talent over Acuitus, or sorry, over Reaping. It might be worth playing. It might be actually worth playing possibly over Acuitus or Volition instead. Not really sure. Maybe I just don't even play it. But either way, experimental. And like Clash 3 stuff has changed a little bit. For the most part, you get what you want. I'll highlight it in the builds below. But the gist of it is, if you're an AoE, you spam seeds. If you're in single target, you cast UAs. You still have these 2-minute dump windows, so on and so forth. And things do change a little bit for Soul Harvester compared to Hellcaller. Let's get into the talent builds. Alrighty, so we're going to be looking at Soul Harvester in single target here first. Soul Harvester and Hellcaller feel very different. They feel similar, but also very different in the way they play, both in single target and AoE in midnight. Very briefly in the class tree, I'm not going to highlight everything here, but you're taking like your throughput talents like Satyr, Anilian, you have your Leech talent here, Intellect here. In single target, I've gone more into Drain Life talents like Improved Coil, Avarice, Empowered Drain Life, so on and so forth. For the M+ builds, you pull out of this stuff a lot here for more of like Dark Fury, esque abilities with Blight of Tongues. No Foul Mouth in single target as well, but you can customize this if you want. Totally up to you if you want like Battle Res, so on and so forth, whatever, but that's that. As far as the single target hero talents are concerned for Soul Harvester, I've opted to not hop into this row here. They very well could sim higher and or be higher in general than what you have in here. You do have some like throughput talents in here, like Eternal Certitude, Friends in Dark Places, so on and so forth, where it might be worth pulling like this row for this row possibly. It very likely probably is, but like Haunt Graying Nightfall is pretty relevant. Losing Acuitus is pretty relevant as well, because like Consuming Nightfall activates Shared Fate, Piece of Souls, and Reaping seems like it could be a bit losing as well. But I have to pull like all 3 things here to basically get this whole row filled in, or I pull like 2 of these and 1 of these, and it just becomes a weird sort of convoluted thing. You're losing teachings. I'm keeping it like this in single target. It might change. If it does, I'll update it. Getting into the trees here, though, so when it comes to Siphon Life versus Absolute Corruption, Siphon Life is going to be your better option as far as I've seen on beta and such. If you want to play with Absolute Corruption, it's not the end of the world. It's a little bit of DPS loss, not incredibly noticeable. I believe they're still very close. And honestly, it might even just be almost like a negligible difference here. I'm playing Siphon Life in single target, but up to you. To each his own there. Honestly, I might even swap the AC, depending where it goes and stuff. It's probably a wash for Soul Harvester more so, but Hellcaller, if I favors Siphon Life a bit more. But still, regardless, that's that. Playing Drain Soul here, Haunt, Improved Haunt. Our Apex talent does revolve around Haunt in Midnight. However, we don't have those yet, so we're just playing Haunt, Improved Haunt, so on and so forth. Dark Lair's here. Dark Lair does not extend dots anymore, so we are playing Dark Lair with like Nether Plating, giving him more damage and having Eye Beam jump. There could be a world where you pull out of this and hop into like Contagion or Malediction in single target. It does do more damage, but it's not incredibly impactful. It very well could look something like this instead. Here, or Malediction. I believe Contagion's ahead of Malediction a little bit. But there is that worth mentioning. I'm going to start here for now, probably. Might change it a bit, we'll see. Eye Contract extends the duration of Dark Lair. You have Malefic Grasp here as well, which we'll look at that in a minute in combat. Grasp does make things interesting without dot extension. I could see a world where you play a build like this in a lot of scenarios right now, and just move this here in pre-patch also. So it might fluctuate a little bit. I'm starting here for now as like a general, just, hey, this probably works pretty well, but we'll experiment more without Sims. Sort of hard to say. Heading down more here, so we're not playing any of the AOE talents here at this point. We are playing Death's Embrace, which is new from the older version we had. This is the scaling damage one from 40 to 0. Much better. Playing Ravenous Afflictions, playing Cascading Calamity, playing Xavius' Gambit, Shard Instability, so on and so forth. We are not playing Fatal Echoes. It is bugged and not working currently. If it changes, I'll update the build. When it comes to the talent over here, however, Dark Harvest. This is what separates Hellcaller from Soul Harvester rotationally a lot. So Dark Harvest is basically like our old Soul Rot spell in a sense, where it's a minute cooldown. It heals you when it does damage, whatever. It basically does damage to targets that have dots on them. It doesn't do more damage based on more dots on a target. It's just if this target has 1 dot on it or 7, it's going to hit the target for all the same. It hits for all the same. Doesn't matter if it's 1 or 10 dots. It's not Rapture. It's just, hey, is this dotted? Cool, it's hitting for 10 damage or whatever it is, you know, regardless. However, Dark Harvest cooldown can be reduced by Cold a week whenever you cast Unstable Affliction or Seed of Corruption. So the cooldown on Dark Harvest is somewhere around like 38 to 40-ish seconds if you're in combat almost permanently. A bit higher, a bit lower depending on procs, RNG. The big thing with Dark Harvest, though, comparatively to with Soul Harvester compared to Hellcaller, is that Soul Harvester's capstone, your Dark Harvest spell is empowered, causing you to grant 1 Soul Shard that each contain a succulent shard every second one channel. Basically, it gives you 3 shards and you channel it, and 3 to 4 succulent soul shards as well. I guess effects, right? So you're gonna count. You can count on having 3 shards being generated every 40-ish seconds through Dark Harvest, and that makes Soul Harvester Aff, I think, feel way better than Hellcaller, like rotationally. Still different damage profiles, but having that snap on demand, I can hit a button and get shards, feels really good with Dark Harvest. So you have to play around that a bit in your opener, more so compared to Hellcaller, which is still a bit up in the air, but that's that. Looking briefly at Hellcaller's single target talent build here, I started with something like this. It's the same thing as Soul Harvester. I kept it like this initially, but I wanted to show what I'm shifting into. We talked about it a bit with Soul Harvester as well. I'm pretty sure I'm pulling out of this stuff, and I think we probably do indeed keep, you probably do end up keeping probably like, if you don't want to play Grasp but hop into like Malediction and probably this like, into Sacrilash, I think there's a world this build might just be better than playing Grasp and playing Nether Plating and playing Potent Soul Shards. A lot of your damage is based around Wither. I'm going to start like here, maybe like here-ish for a single target build and go from there, because obviously Hellcaller is based a lot around Wither damage. You do indeed still have Dark Harvest, however there's no shard gen coming in from Dark Harvest here. It did still seem to be worth it damage wise and testing and stuff, even though you're just not getting any shards. You hit it on cooldown for the most part in single target in AoE. It does damage. You get CDR through Cold a week. Basically all the same. When it comes to the actual tree here, so I have opted to pull out of Zevrams or Illhooves and Mark of Porthoron. This might be wrong. It's so hard to tell without Sims. I think Through the Fellvine is pretty strong though. So it increases the damage of UA and Seed by 4% and 8% respectively. The effect is doubled when Malevolence is active. So every minute when you hit Malevolence, dump a few UAs or Corruption, or a few UAs, and basically Malevolence doubles the value of Through the Fellvine. At the same time, periodic damage by Wither has a chance to proc Malevolence, which will also grant this effect. So you're getting this effect at least once every minute, which you compare every 2 with your Dark Glare, and possibly more often through Devil Fruit. So it's quite possible this is like just better than this. We'll see where it lands in the long run. I don't want to lose Seeds. I don't really want to lose Mark of Xavius. It's a tough call. Maybe it is like losing Mark of Xavius. Black and Soul damage is a lot too. It's hard to say. But this is where I'm going with it for now, and that's basically it for single target. When it comes to AoE builds, looking at Soul Harvester here, we'll swap back to this. These talents do swap over, or playing Shadow Fury, Dark, or whatever this is, sure, Dark Fury, the old one, whatever. Blight of Tongues, shifting into Foul Mouth, so on and so forth. You can swap points around here too if you want a little bit, if you want like Swift Avarice, whatever, up to you. No big deal. I did indeed grab Manifested Avarice over Wicked Reaping for the Soul Harvester M+ build. I do think having this proccing with Soul Swipe, it does indeed cleave onto other enemies, is pretty strong. We'll see where that goes in the long run, but that's that. Also, this could be possibly taken to over like Friends in Dark Places. I just realized this, by the way. We're dropping this for this. Sorry. I'll update that build. Don't worry about it. We're dropping this for this. I want this. But yeah, so I'll do that there. Now, I'll do it for both of them, honestly. Who cares at this point? Maybe. I'll contemplate it for single target, but for M+, we're going to do this. Once again, no sims, but there's that. Now, as far as the M+ build is concerned, honestly, like, you're pulling out of some single target spells, Shard Instability, Xavius' Gambit, Cascading, heading into things like Death's Embrace, Ravenous, So, Patient Zero. This is already here from last build, but like Patient Zero, Sow the Seeds, Seeds of Corruption, some AoE stuff here and there. This does do damage to multiple targets if you hit it. That's cool. Same as like, Seed, whatever. Pulling out of Withering Bolt and Improved Haunt, grabbing dot modifiers like Contagion, Sacrilash, and Malediction. There could be a world where you hop into something else a bit like less dot damage based. You are Soul Harvester. But at the same time, like, there's still pretty strong effects, even though you're not like full on Wither damage, right? Through like Hellcaller is. I'm opting to play Siphon Life here as Soul Harvester. The thing is, we're back to Seed of Corruption spam in M+. We're not sitting here casting Rapture all the time, casting one Seed to apply Corruptions and then casting Raptures a bunch. We're casting Seed to do AoE damage. Your Corruption or Wither, if you're playing Hellcaller, never really falls in AoE with Seed and Sow and everything else. Siphon Life does indeed have a cause Corruption to do more damage, 30% versus AC being 15. So there's that. More in single target, more dot tick damage as well in AoE, and if it's not dropping in the first place, why not play Siphon Life? If you want to play AC, it's fine, not a big deal. But I'm playing Siphon here for Soul Harvester and M+, and that's mostly the gist of it, pretty much here. When it comes to Hellcaller and M+, honestly, I haven't really swapped the build at all either. It's the same thing, and this is where I want the dot effects more. I want like Contagion, Sacrilash, Malediction. Same thing for the most part, playing Siphon Life here. More damage to Corruption or Wither if you're playing Hellcaller. 2 points here, 1 in Fruit, 1 in Through the Felvine, pulling out of these. Same thing with like Shadow Fury, Dark, or Oppressing Darkness, whatever it is in this thing. These builds might change. Once again, I can even see a world where you put points in like Eye Contract if you're in like a higher key or whatever you're doing, you want your Dark Lair to last longer. Really depends. Might shift a bit, but it's pre-patch. It's time to have a good time with it. Nothing serious is happening at this point in pre-patch, but it's cool to get a bit of a taste of new abilities and see where they all go. So you want those links to builds, they are down below. All right, when it comes to your single target opener for Affliction in pre-patch of Midnight, we're looking at both Soul Harvester and Hellcaller here. We're just gonna look at Soul Harvester probably here. Maybe I'll do both. I don't really know. I want this to be a fast video, not a big deal. But what we're getting at here, Soul Harvester and Hellcaller both play Dark Harvest. However, Dark Harvest only generates shards when you cast it for Soul Harvester, not Hellcaller. Hellcaller has a minute cooldown called Malevolence, which is right here. It's a minute cooldown. You'll pair it with Dark Glare, then by itself, then Dark Glare, then by itself. Dark Glare is a 2-minute cooldown. This is a 1-minute cooldown, so see how that works there. Besides that, you want to basically cast your Dark Glare before you cast all your Unstable Afflictions you're pooling for every 2 minutes, because they don't extend UAs anymore, or Dark Glare is not anymore, which is sort of a non-combo with Malefic Grasp. It's pretty cool. You'll see how clunky it is in a second here. But you want to, like Dark Harvest, Dark Glare, cast your UAs, and then try and channel Malefic Grasp, which flares up your dots, but then your other dots start falling. So it's sort of weird. You see what I'm talking about here. So We're gonna look at it from a Soul Harvester POV here. I'm not gonna do both here because honestly it's like the same thing. Just keep in mind there's no shard gen for Hellcaller like there is Soul Harvester when you cast Dark Harvest in your opener and things. But besides that, the only real difference is you're gonna pop Malevolence for Hellcaller after your Dark Glare. You're gonna hit everything else basically in the same spot, and that's that. Just once again, no shard gen for Hellcaller versus Soul Harvester. So let's say we're opening up here, right? The boss is being pulled. We're gonna precast a Haunt into a precast Unstable Affliction. Agony, Corruption. I'm going to cast UA again to proc Cascading Calamity. I'm going to Dark Glare, then Dark Harvest here, and then dump my Unstable Afflictions. Now, it'd be cool to start Malefic Grasping here a bunch. I'm going to do some, but my dots are falling, so I have to stop. Refresh Corruption, refresh Agony, refresh Haunt, lose an eyeball stack there because of the clunkiness of Malefic Grasp and no extensions anymore. Then dump the remaining Unstable Afflictions, keep channeling Malefic Grasp here, keep channeling, watch your Dark Glare duration, get one more channeling if you can. Obviously, you'd refresh Corruption there if you could before it falls. And that's that. Now, if you look down here, I have Dark Harvest again. So we're going to Harvest again here and just cast a couple UAs. 1 UA, 2 UA, watching our Cascading Calamity buff right here. Just casting Drain Souls, catching our Corruption. You, for the most part, are able to roll like 1 UA without really much issue. But you want to make sure you're pooling for your, if you're playing Hellcaller, you want to make sure that you're pooling every minute, and also every 2 minutes for sure, for your Malevolence window every minute, and for your Dark Glare every 2. Dark Glare is both, you know, obviously Soul Harvester and Hellcaller, but Malevolence is a Hellcaller only thing. As far as like Soul Harvester is concerned here, I mean, you just basically cast UAs and you get a Dark Harvest reset every 40-ish seconds, give or take, like right about now. So we're gonna get some here, gonna cast some more UAs, just doing damage here, maintaining dots, maintaining Haunt. No big deal, dumping this Nightfall stack, and just making sure that like whenever my Dark Glare comes up in about half a minute here, I'm going to have shards pooled for that, right? Now typically I'll try and, depending where Dark Harvest syncs up here, sometimes if I'm moving in combat and things like this a little bit, it'll be like relatively synced with Dark Glare. Sometimes it'll be a bit ahead. It's sort of a judgment call based on how far ahead it is, if you want to hold it for your Dark Glare or dump it early. Typically I just hold it, as long as we're not like desync by half a minute here, give or take. Like right now, I'll just hold this. I'll roll a couple UAs and go from there. Maintaining Cascading Calamity. Dark Glare's coming up now, so I want to refresh dots if I can here. So we'll do that. We'll put up a UA right now. We'll cast our Haunt. We want to dump below to basically 2 shards here if we can. So we'll Dark Glare now, trinkets, whatever, hit our Dark Harvest, channel the rest of our shards here, and then begin dumping the rest of these Unstable Afflictions. Unfortunately, once again, we're in a world where Dark Glare doesn't extend dots anymore, so they're all falling, but it's okay. We can drain and roll some more UAs here. UA, refresh our Haunt, and drain with Grasp again, and just try and find that balance of like maintaining dots, casting Malefic Grasp from our Dark Glare when it procs, to like flare up our dots, maintain them, dump shards for UA, and go from there. If you're playing Hellcaller and not Soul Harvester, once again, you will not have this shard gen coming in from Dark Harvest whenever you cast it, which is right here. You have a button called Malevolence, which you hit. It's actually right here. You just hit it every minute. With Dark Glare, without Dark Glare. With Dark Glare, without Dark Glare. Because Dark Glare, 2-minute cooldown, and this is a minute cooldown. You still hit Dark Harvest on cooldown for the most part, but all it does is just do damage. It doesn't give you shards. That's basically the gist of it in a single target. Now, when it comes to AoE, we're still going to play Soul Harvester for this, but the same implications are there for Hellcaller. There's no shard gen from Dark Harvest whenever you hit it, but you have Malevolence on a minute cooldown. Malevolence is also, I mean, Hellcaller in general, things is strong and M+, so is Soul Harvester. We're going to look at more Soul Harvester here, but I expect both to see play in pre-patch. Same rules apply once again, with Dark Glare, without for Malevolence, and basically you just go from there. Now, as far as like your opener goes here, so we're not playing Cascading Calamity. We're pulling out of a lot of like single target amps like Malefic Grasp, Xavius, Cascading Calamity, even like Withering Bolt and Improved Haunt for more AoE based abilities like Patient Zero, so the Seed of Destruction, Nocturnal Yield, obviously Seed spam is what you're going to do in AoE, so on and so forth. Now, I'm in Stormwind here. I believe these are stacked enough. We can look at an AoE opener. If we can't, it's fine. Just assume there's multiple targets stacked here. But honestly, Affliction's AoE is very simple. Yeah. So let's say the tank's running into a pack here. He's rounding it up. Let's say this is like our priority target here. Targeting already. He's rounding it up a little bit. The way you spread Agony in Midnight is through shared agony. It's not through vital taint anymore. And then typically I'm throwing some agony, so the tank's rounding it up. Cool, it's all stacked up now. We're gonna cast Seed of Corruption on our main target. Haunt to pop the seed. Typically I'll Dark Harvest here. I'll Dark Lair with Dark Harvest typically. Pop Dark Lair and spam seed. 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 Catch our agonies here. Catch our agonies. Seed. This cleaving beam here is my Dark Lair. I haven't even seen that visual yet. It's actually pretty cool. It's like the nether plating ability he has. It cleaves I-beam. It's pretty sick. Just spam seed. 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 Now, if you're a Hellcaller here, obviously, I'll maintain your Haunt for sure. I guess more so for Midnight there. Maintain your Haunt. Now, if you're a Hellcaller here, you're going to hit your Malevolence every minute. Once again, when you're spamming Seed and AoE, and that's the gist of it. You're not going to have this shard gen coming in like I do right here from Dark Harvest. You won't have this as Hellcaller. You'll still hit Dark Harvest all the same, but it just won't give you shards. But you have additional damage through Malevolence every minute or so. So it really depends what you're doing. Damage profiles do vary a bit, obviously. You want to maintain your agonies on both regardless. You want to maintain Haunt on your prior target here. When it comes to AoE, there's really not a reason to cast Unstable Affliction. In like 3 or 4 plus targets. There was during early alpha into early beta, but they got rid of that ability. So for the most part, in 3 or more targets, I'm just spamming seed. When it comes to like 2 target scenarios, typically I'm rolling Unstable Afflictions unless I get a Nightfall proc, which gives me an instant cast seed. And then if that's the case, I'll typically just use that proc to throw a seed, which will cleave on 2 targets and explode on both for funnel damage, prior damage, and all of that. That's the gist of it. If there's 3 targets, you do big seed damage. If there's 2, you basically put up UAs, but spam seed or cast seed with Nightfall procs, which are also seeds through Nocturnal Yield. And that's pretty much it. Once again, if you're Hellcaller, Malevolence every minute, with Dark Lair, without, with Dark Lair, without. And basically, you're just casting Dark Harvest on CD as well. As long as you're not overcapping on shards. Make sure to spend as many as you can. Don't overcap, barring your opener. You're going to probably overcap in your opener a bit. Just what it is. You want to get it on cooldown, and you want to get the effect going if you're Soul Harvester for the succulent shards that it gives you. These are buffed and do more damage and spawn your demon as well when you cast seeds, which he's right there. So that's basically it. That's the gist of it. If you got questions, put it down below. We'll have more in-depth guides coming out for the actual release of the expansion, but it's pre-patch. Have fun. So thanks for watching, guys. Wraps it up. Hopefully enjoyed the video. Hopefully helped you out a little bit with learning Affliction in Midnight pre-patch. I'm trying to keep this video sort of short, so we're going to call it fast here, but thank you all for watching. Thank you for all support on Patreon, guys. Like always, for all my supporters on Patreon, y'all, thank y'all a million times. Especially right now with things being busy, man. I appreciate y'all so much. Appreciate all y'all. But yeah, thank you guys. Much love. If you guys want any profiles of my own, I put out a video a couple days ago, yesterday actually, on my UI and add-ons. Should be a video on the channel if you want, like a day or 2 back. Check that out. If you aren't subbed to the channel and would consider subbing, it mean the world to me. We're like 3K subs away from 100K, which is wild. We might hit it before Midnight launches. If we do, that'd be sick. But yeah, so thanks for watching, guys. Demo and Destro videos up the next couple of days as well. And yeah, I'll see you on stream. Peace.